Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge. What was that?
I just kept saying welcome really quietly.
Welcome.
It's going to be annoying to our audio listeners.
That's funny. We've got AJ. We've got Rudo. We're powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships, and we're joined by guest Bailey Curtis, writer for the Hockey News. Thank you for coming on with us, Bailey.
Absolutely.
Should
Thank
be
you
fun
for having me.
Yeah, you've got the insider knowledge on all the Canes players that are now
Do I?
on the Avs.
This is the only thing I'm good for, apparently.
No, plenty more than that.
Let's start with that, though, because we brought you on today. We are going to talk specifically about the Carolina imports, and I want you to give our listeners that may not be familiar with your background a reason as to why you would be familiar with them.
Yeah, so first 18 years of my life, I was a resident of North Carolina, lived in the suburbs of Raleigh, and grew up a Hurricanes fan. So I've seen a lot of the guys, or at least two of the three that we consider imports, I suppose, kind of come through the system and develop and, find their game, find themselves as players. And it's been a pleasure to kind of watch them grow and whatnot. And used to be a podcast co-host on the Surgecast. So I've got a little bit of knowledge as far as that's concerned.
Great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the insights on the guys because I am curious. I think Avalanche land, Avzosphere, is that what I call it? The Avzosphere
Yes, the Avzosphere. Yeah. Thank you. So much better.
I think they pretty quickly attached to guys like Necas and Drury and now Burns here, but I am curious for a little bit of a deeper look on that. Before we get into that, though, some other topics. Did want to start with the news of today. First of all, thank you, Garrett, for becoming a member. Shout out the Supporters Club if you want to support us here on YouTube. Spend a couple bucks, support us, and you get a bunch of cool emotes and emojis that should be fun for the watch-alongs this year. Just
also,
to spam.
An important thing to note, the more people who become members, the more emotes we can make.
Yeah.
That's not a thing where it's like we only have one Avs emote because we're Avs, like the company is an Avs hater or whatever. Like more members, more emotes, more Avs stuff.
Makes sense.
For now, we got Dr. Dubs.
Yeah, Dr. Dubs, and we're going to use it a lot. We had to start with the most important one, honestly.
Of course. Other news, actually, in the hockey world today. One, Chad already said it. Jamie Benn, collapsed lung. Sucks to suck, Dallas. I mean, you never want to see anyone get hurt.
Jesus, man.
Good grief.
You never want to see anyone get hurt, but if the Avs can pass off the injury curse to another team in the Central Division, I'm fine with it.
Ideally, nobody gets hurt, and we just have like the best on best.
That's not reality.
That's not the world we live in. It is like it's scary for Jamie Benn, and obviously he's like a arch nemesis of our rooting interest, I guess. So you're kind of like conflicted where you are like, God, that's terrible, but your like core feeling of like,
and
Jamie Benn.
You just come down from the high too of getting Heiskanen back during playoffs as well, and all of a sudden now it's just another guy down.
Yeah,
too.
Great. I'm glad he's okay though. I mean, it sounds like he's going to be all right. 4 weeks. It doesn't sound like.
Obviously, wish him good health.
If he doesn't miss,
it doesn't sound like it.
It's not, again, I don't wish injuries on anyone. I just am tired of the Avs going through it while the rest of the Central is perfectly healthy.
Yeah. Which team was missing their 2-star players in the first round series?
Yeah, I know, but the Avs self-lost, so it shouldn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Good grief.
The other bit of news today, you're starting to see a few names trickle onto waivers. Not really anything of significant note, but Connor Ingram's name was the one that came up on waivers today where it's like, I don't think the Avs are particularly interested. We talked the other day.
Devil's advocate.
Sell me.
What if the Mackenzie Blackwood thing is worse than you expected? You could claim Connor Ingram.
That's still a stopgap, though, right?
Sure, but you could claim Connor Ingram, and then you're running Wedgwood and Ingram for a couple of weeks, and then
what?
when Blackwood comes back, you send Ingram on waivers, and if he stays in your organization, fine. Most of his salary is variable. You've got salary cap room. Like, it's not the worst idea, but it requires the Blackwood thing is worse than we think it is.
Yeah,
Then comes the question too of the trust in Minor as well down in the AHL.
Connor Ingram or Trent Minor. Like, if you
Yeah.
have a chance to roll with one of those guys, you should roll with Connor Ingram. Mm-hmm. He's done it before.
Oh yeah.
he can play in the NHL. Again, to me, there's a very narrow band of how bad it would have to be with Blackwood for that to make sense.
Yeah.
If it's not very bad and he's back week 1, week 2, why bother?
Yeah.
If it's really bad and he's out 4, 5, 6 months, you need to go get a real answer for that position and not a waiver claim.
Yeah.
So it just a lot of things would have to line up, and it's so early in the process that there are going to be other goalies that end up on waivers that I don't know that it makes a ton of sense for the Avs, but maybe.
In terms of talent, he will be one of the better players to
That's
actually
true.
pass through waivers this entire preseason. That's the only reason why I'm like,
Maybe.
yeah. This is an organization that claimed Ivan Prosvetov once upon a time. Like, you never know.
We've hit lows before.
Yeah. God,
That's
that
true.
was weird, dude.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's nothing major on the news front today, but we can dive into some of our actual topics, which I wanted to start with you guys. We are officially 1 week into preseason, if you count day 1 of training camp to today.
Tight.
Yeah.
There's plenty to talk about with Colorado. There's plenty we've been talking about, but I'm curious, what's the most interesting storyline so far that's developed out of training camp for you guys? Is it things that spring to my mind is Bardakov 4C, Jack Drury 3C, and then Sam Alinsky on the left side, maybe? Those are the big 3 for me, but I'll listen to what you guys think is the most interesting.
I think there's something to be said too about special teams, and especially coming out of the unfortunate playoff exit last season, seeing how the Avalanche deploy that too, especially with Haxtell coming in to run the helm of things, Pratt kind of working with the PK, and seeing how Bret Burns works around with that as well. Interested to see where Olofsson kind of lies there too, because we saw a couple different combinations during practice earlier this week, and how that kind of setup maybe wasn't my first choice for what a first power play unit would look like, but definitely some interesting things to keep an eye on there for me. At least that's one of the bigger ones I'm taking a look at.
I'm a DGen. So the thing that I've been most excited to watch was Zakhar Bardakov. I want to make way too much of a fourth line center. I want to pretend like he's way more important than he actually is.
That's all he's known for his entire career is Zakhar Bardakov.
I mean, we get like when you go in depth on it and you're like, oh, this center's he's gonna play 11 minutes a night. 49 minutes of the game will take place with that guy on the bench. Like, we always make way too much of these guys, right?
60 stats are across 6 games.
Exactly. But like this with Bardakov, I am fascinated to know. And tangentially Jack Drury at 3C as well.
Sure.
Because that combination, and I guess it's not hard, those roles, just that bottom 6 center depth is kind of my favorite storyline of this camp, this preseason, because it's fascinating. You move on from Charlie Coyle, who's a proven commodity there, and Jack Drury, who we know was a very good fourth line center for you last year.
Yep.
Now you've got, okay, well, Jack Drury is going to be hopefully in a new role. We don't really know how he's going to do in it. And then you have Zakhar Bardakov, who is a complete unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, a year ago, we weren't even talking about him coming across the pond ever. And then he had a good year in the KHL, and we were like, okay, now great. Now he's going to be the fourth line center.
I was going to say, McFarland mentions his name once following the draft, and all of a sudden, this is the big, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, now it's great. Now we're just going to talk about Zakhar Bardakov. And he's fun. He's a delight.
Yeah.
Parker Kelly likes him. He keeps talking about how funny he is. And the coaches are like, oh, he takes to it. He asks questions, he communicates. Like, there's everything that you want to see out of him. He's doing. It's delightful.
Does Chris McFarland deserve more credit than we're giving him for that trade?
No, not yet, but I mean, right now it's Christian Humphries and Zakhar Bardakov, so you feel pretty good about it right now.
Yep. For
Curtis McDermott, yeah.
Even if you're on Team Curtis McDermott and you were championing what he was bringing to the team, you replaced that with Keaton Middleton, right? So
yeah,
it feels like just good value for the Avs. Even if if Bardakov doesn't work out, it is what it is. But
can Keaton Middleton play left wing?
Maybe Bardakov can.
If Malinsky can do it, maybe there's hope yet for the AHL pipeline to play left D.
I'm telling you, we're less than a decade away from straight up positionless hockey for someone in the NHL. Just 5 players, no positions.
Yeah. We just need our Travis Hunter. That guy that is center and third defenseman at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, Bret Burns played some forward in his career. I'm just
I guess we had Patrice Bergeron. That was pretty close.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Better off.
Well, and now the Islanders have the next Patrice Bergeron.
Oh my God. Stop.
I love this joke so much.
There is one other storyline I would bring up that obviously it spans back into last playoffs, but the return of Gabe Landeskog. And I don't want to spoil, I know AJ's working on a gigantic piece about this for part of our season preview, so I won't get too into it.
True.
But let's just say the Landeskog vibes are good.
Oh, yeah.
In training camp.
No, and especially down the lineup, too. Not just with the main NHL crew having their captain back, and that I'm sure works wonders having him back on the ice, too. But in talking with guys who are doing well right now, and Gavin Brindley, Tristan Nielsen, different guys, you can see what having him back around the team, actually skating in a contact environment, does for vibes around too. Like I don't want to get too wordy with it, but it's you can see the impact that he has, not just leader wise, but it's a veteran. You're learning from him. He's a great player too. So there's no shying away from that and being somebody that he can, or guys like that can learn from.
I did ask a couple of the guys the other day when I was there that, hey, we've talked so much about Gabe Landeskog and the leadership and the person and the comeback and the journey. He could still help you guys on the ice, right? And all of them. I mean, obviously, this is like a slow pitch softball, down the middle.
Yeah.
Hit this out of the park, please. Just tell me nice things about Gabe Landeskog question. But yeah, it was no, he's a horse. Parker Kelly was like, oh, anything below the dots, you're going to try and take the puck from him? No.
No,
you're not. In fact, you are not. So I do think that he's going to bring such a good element, that two-way element, and the physicality that the Avs we're always talking about the Avs. Oh, they need more of this. They need more of this. Now you look at their lineup.
They've got enough, it feels like.
And you're there's a decent amount. There's a combination here because they have a couple of guys who are big. Bret Burns, Valentin Nichushkin. Big, but not overly physical. But really, still really effective with their size. It's not like they're wallflowers, right? They're not 6'5" guys who are playing like they're 5'10". They're just doing it in a different way. They're not, the way that they're successful is not
strong, not heavy.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. Thank you. So that, I think, important. That's an important distinction, that they have a lot of effective size. They still aren't an overly physical team, but Landeskog will bring that. And as we saw, I mean, poor Sam Lipkin just got the hell beat out of him for, I don't know, it kind of looked like an inadvertent elbow to Cale Makar.
It was not intentional.
I don't think he did it on purpose, and then it was okay, well, take the beating of your life in response.
This is something you remember 20, 25, 30 years down the road. Hey, I got my butt beat by Gabe Landeskog.
I told my non-hockey fan girlfriend, I was like, that guy's got to be thrilled. That was embarrassing, but he's going to tell his grandchildren that Gabe Landeskog beat him up.
Gave me a nasty uppercut.
Yeah, beat him up. He's going to be like, oh, it was a great time.
I also, almost hurt Cale Makar, but we won't talk about that.
He won't tell that part of the story.
No, that
he will not tell that part.
Not important at all.
We do have to take our first break of the show, so let's make sure we're getting over there and paying our bills And if you want to have a little bit more money to pay your bills, that's where Ent Credit Union comes into play. Ent Credit Union, of course, fantastic place to do your banking, but especially if you're a Broncos fan and want to make the most of the season. For those of you that don't know, Ent is the largest credit union in Colorado. It's proudly serving communities all over the state, and they even have an official bank account, checking account that is, for the Broncos. So make sure you're getting with Ent. You can get Bo Nix on your credit card, which, the loss the other time probably wasn't his fault entirely. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know. Make more better plays. I don't know
Make
what to
more
tell you.
better place.
That's the
Somebody
extent
clip
of my
that.
football knowledge. Yeah.
That's the tagline for the football season.
More
We're the
better
Broncos
plays.
guys.
Instead of worrying about that, get some savings. Every 15 swipes on your Broncos checking debit card enters you to win tickets to a home game, but you also get 10% off food and gear on game days at Empower Field. There's no surprise fees on the account either. So if you're ready to bank like a Bronco, head over to ent.com/DNVR. That's ent.com/DNVR to learn more. Of course, they're insured by NCUA, membership required. Accounts require associated Ent Broncos debit card. And if you saved a little bit of money, might be time to sign your kids up with the Gold Crown Foundation to play a little bit of sports. If you're like me, you grew up playing basketball in Colorado and played in a Gold Crown league. I was in the bad teams league because I try to make more better plays. That's the extent of my basketballing.
He tried.
But I was not very good.
A
But
for
they have
effort.
feeder teams at the gold, silver, and bronze level. And then if you're bad like me, they have club teams like the open level. So they've got something for everyone. It's not just basketball either. They have volleyball. They had women's flag football over the summer, which I think is ended now, but you can get in that next time around. And it's not just any old places. You get to play in high school gyms as well as the Gold Crown Fieldhouse, which is a super awesome building. They also have a bunch of scholarship programs for kids. So it's a great time to find a team in your area. Tryout pages on the website. You can use that QR code on screen right there, or you can head to goldcrownfoundation.com to learn more and sign up today. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's get a little bit more in the meat and potatoes. I want to go through some specific players that are the guys that are getting a little bit more attention at a preseason training camp style of play, because as much as everyone loves watching Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, we know who those guys are in Colorado. So let's start with the new guys coming in this year, that being Bret Burns, Thr Olofsson, and then we already talked about Bardakov a little bit, who we're kind of penciling in as the 4C. Start from the back, work up. Bret Burns, the veteran of all veterans in the league at this point.
Yes.
Has
Mr. Blackbeard himself.
That's a polite way to call somebody old. The veteran of all veterans.
Look, I'm going to go as him for Halloween. That's why I'm growing out the beard.
All right, well, when we need to worry about those teeth, it's Colfax, man. It won't be hard to find somebody to fix that.
My front six are fake. I could just, they're permanent, so I shouldn't just yank them out.
Yeah, don't.
Maybe not the greatest.
Please
idea.
don't do that.
We need content warnings,
Oh
you
my
know?
god.
Besides the looks of Bret Burns, though, realistically, what can we expect him to bring to the Avs? He's not young, like you guys were mentioning. Had a 29-point season last year. Should that be the expectation table, or can he be another one of those guys that comes into Colorado and we see that offensive game pop a little bit more?
I think the biggest difference to look at here is going to be stylistically where he's coming from to where he's going to. Because he's coming from a team that is very much so pucks on net.
Yeah.
And even in a situation like that, only totaled however many points. So there's something to be said about that. I think when it comes to offensive pushes, he can really provide a lot there. Obviously, with his experience as a forward, now defenseman in the league, which I think is a crazy storyline when you go back and kind of look at that, roller coaster of a career he's had. But not only can he provide a lot of that veteran presence, being 40 years old in the league, having been around the block once or twice, being the grandfather of that locker room, he's bringing a lot to the special teams. Played on both special teams units in Carolina. Career-wise, had the worst, I think, power play performance of his career last year. Which is something interesting to be said, considering he was one of the more offensively minded defensemen on that team last year. But penalty kill unit was phenomenal one of the best, and that's kind of what Carolina's known for, right? Is defensively, especially in that back 2/3 of the ice, can really it's a shutdown team. And I think having that experience coming into, Colorado, they could really use somebody who comes from a system like that, who knows kind of how to play that shutdown system, especially while they're kind of reconfiguring things and figuring out how to move into this season. We talked about his reach. His reach is incredible. Uses his size in ways that not many 6'4", 6'5" guys do. But I think that reach alone, that contribution on the penalty kill, and that veteran presence he can bring for younger guys coming up in the system can learn from.
Okay. I do wonder how the Avs pieces fit around them, because Burns, even before he was in Carolina, was a very high volume shooter on the defensive side. They do have Landeskog, who is, I think, pretty inarguably the Avs' best net front tip style of player.
Yes.
Burns has had wild success with that. It's pretty easy when you're playing with Joe Pavelski in San Jose to get a bunch of assists on tip-in goals. But I really do wonder exactly how much they can get out of Burns at 5-on-5. Because like you mentioned, and it looks like there's a decent chance he'll play on both sides of special teams for the Avs, on the second power play unit and on the penalty kill. So realistically, he's not going to be top pairing. Obviously, that's Makar and Taves. But can he be a guy that gives you 16, 17, 18 minutes a night as opposed to someone that you're capping a little bit more?
No, absolutely. And I think with the experience that he brings alone coming into this team, the amount of time he spent in this league speaks for itself. He's coming again into a team. They're reconfiguring things and trying to move pieces around. And I think bringing in Burns gives them a piece where they're not having to rely on those top guys anymore. You're not getting a Cale Makar playing a million minutes a night. Brent Burns is a guy who can eat some of that. And they're in a situation, if you do end up deploying him on that power play 2, on that PK 1, you're getting a system where you're not having to rely on those first units nearly as much as you were last season. And I think that's a really important piece that a lot of people skip over too, is a lot of times you're watching that Cale Makar playing, a minute 25 of a 2-minute power play. And this is a situation, Bednar's kind of looking at this now, like, we don't need to do that this year at all. This is a situation we can deploy them equally and save a lot of the fatigue that some of our top guys go through, make it more manageable down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, if that top power play unit doesn't get set up in the first 40 seconds, you just pull them off.
Yeah.
Easy.
And that I think shows an immense amount of trust too, down the line too. I mean, not necessarily in, okay, our first power play sucks, now we got to go to the second one, see if they can perform a little better. But knowing that you have that to fall back on, and there's that trust that these guys can get it done just as much as these guys. Yeah. I think speaks for itself.
Yeah, and when when we were at the rink the other day, we were talking about it, like 30 goals scored, 30 goals scored, 30 goals scored. Like, they dotted on your top unit. But your second unit, Landeskog has a 30-goal season.
20 goal scorers. There
Right,
too,
and then Olofsson and Colton have 20-goal seasons. Burns has a 20-goal season. Like, there's just not the kind of drop-off that we have seen in recent years when that unit would take the ice, where you're like, that's why that unit's not taking the ice.
Right.
Their second unit might be more prolific and have more scoring talent on it than some bad teams' top units this year. Like, it's a really good second unit.
And it's something the Avalanche really haven't had.
No.
Like that, like this in a long time.
Yeah. 4 years?
Yeah. Something like that. So I think that's something Bednar can be very, very proud of, and being able to deploy. And it just goes to show the depth of this team this season.
Last question on Burns. Who do you want to see paired with him? Not who do you want to see next to Burns on his pairing?
Ooh. Give me a Malinsky.
Okay.
I don't mind that as much, just because you have Malinsky, who's looking to kind of take a push in scoring, but he's learned a lot defensively over the last couple seasons. And with him playing his offside too,
Yeah.
Who better to kind of help him adjust to a situation like that and learning to play in a position that's maybe a little more foreign to him than a guy like Bret Burns.
He certainly has the experience. Well, I guess he didn't play his offside very much.
No,
but
not his
has
offside
the
very
league
much, but-
experience.
Yeah.
Would hope Burns can cover for anything Malinsky's adjusting to, for sure. Move up to the forwards. I don't know that we have a ton more to say about Bardakov, just because the conversation remains with him. Well, he's got to earn the 4C job, and
He has a cool visor and he talks to people.
There you go.
In a language he doesn't fully understand.
That's, I think, the biggest thing, too, is he's maybe not speaking the best English, but he's understanding it well, and he's trying to create those conversations, and it's everybody likes him.
It's amazing
It's a huge thing.
the difference in how well he understands English. It's been warp speed.
yeah.
1 week ago today, it was
None.
I don't think I've
negative
seen
English.
I don't think I've seen that
And
before.
then now it's just like, well, he's understanding it well enough. Well, all right, that's fine.
Cool.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
Hockey's the universal language, maybe.
Something Rod Brendamore actually said to Nikishin when coming in. You may not understand English, but you understand hockey.
Yeah.
That's the language we speak around here.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of fun.
Victor Olofsson, then, the one real forward they brought in from outside the organization this year. He's an interesting guy. I am curious to ultimately see what Victor Olofsson's fit is with the team. He's right now slotted in to be on that third line wing spot with Colton and Drury. Can the Avs get enough out of this guy that he becomes another one of those, the next, I don't want to say Nichushkin because his success was absurd, but Evan Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's Erod.
Can they have a guy that flourishes with them again in Olofsson?
I guess Erod and Jonathan Duran.
Sure.
Just different levels of hype on Joe Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Olofsson, the league obviously wasn't buying what he was selling and saying, hey, look, I'm reformed from my Buffalo days. I'm a good defensive forward and I can still score goals. The league just didn't buy it.
Yeah.
That's why he got a $1.575 million deal on him, for 1 year.
Yep.
Because the league looked at him and said, nah, we want to see it again. We want to see it again.
Yep.
And unfortunately for everybody else out there that's not in Colorado, if they see it again, great. Now they can believe, but
And then you got to pay. Yeah.
yeah, it might be an important key to Colorado winning the Stanley Cup, which,
Right.
all right, well, it's a good thing you guys didn't believe last summer, suckers.
From Olofsson's side, Colorado has a pretty darn good track record of success with guys like this.
Yeah.
And even in cases where maybe there isn't success, they found a way to get Tomas Tatar to somewhere that he could play a little bit better. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of reason for players in that position to like going to Colorado. Put it
Yeah,
that way.
there's a lot of reason for guys to buy into Colorado as a spot for reclamation projects, but there are things about Olofsson's game that I'm worried about. He's not a go hard to the net, get his nose dirty kind of guy. He's a perimeter-based player. He wants to shoot pucks. He wants to stand on the outside. It's fine. I really don't buy that the defense is suddenly better after 1 year in Vegas. I think that their system did a lot of insulating him. And can Colorado's system do the same kind of insulating him? I don't know, because Colorado asks a lot of its wings. It asks a lot of, we want you to be aggressively transporting pucks through the neutral zone. They want to play a lot faster than other teams, which means that
There's not a lot of time for standing around.
Yeah,
and-
there's not a lot of, hey, we're going to pack the defensive house and then we'll work our way up the ice nice. And there's not like a good slow build-up. The Avalanche just want to get the puck and go as fast as they can. Can Victor Olofsson handle that? I guess that's what this year will tell us. But the shooting ability is easy to buy into. Everything else is, we'll see. I don't want to say it's bad, because that's not at all how I feel. It's just he has a lot
Hasn't
of
earned
proving.
the check mark yet.
He has a lot of proving to do.
And I think that's the interesting thing that I'm keeping my eye on personally is you hear a lot when he's first traded here what he can do for the power play and how he can assist the forwards. But there's not really a whole lot of talk about his game on the other side of the puck as well. And that's the thing that I'm most afraid of is you're going to see what his ability on the power play in the offensive zone, his ability to put the puck in the back of the net from different areas on the ice. Okay, then what?
Yeah.
It's
Okay, then what is a big, like that's like the Victor Olofsson story. You could score goals. Okay, then what?
Yeah.
For every other aspect of his game.
when you run into a player like that, it limits how far down the lineup he can move to.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that, oh, it's not working on the third line, we'll just drop him to the fourth line and he could be a good energy guy for us. That's not going to work.
Right.
It's more of a, can he move up the lineup?
Oh, Victor Olofsson's not working out on our third line. Now you're playing next to Brock Nelson because we need to try and find a way to get you
Right.
productive.
And that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, the guy whose job he just took on the second line is going, what? Excuse me? I'm Arturi Lehkonen. I gave you a 27 goal. I scored more goals than that guy last year. What do you mean you need to get him going? What about me?
There's something to be said about Jaron Blednar doing his thing in the
exactly.
third period, and you get to the next game starting lineup, and it's like, okay, cool, we're back.
Yeah, where it's they're down 3-1,
Yeah.
and he's just like, they look awful. Just
play
tap
anybody,
guys on the
yeah.
shoulder. Let's just figure it out.
You had one good shift today. Get out
Yeah,
there.
exactly. All right, you had one good shift. Go play with Nathan McKinnon. Make it work. All right. Oh, you didn't play well with that one shift? Well, I gave you opportunity. All right.
I do think, as you guys have stated, but you take another step there. Bednar's talked about playing Olofsson throughout the top 9, but if it doesn't work in that first month or so, I think there's a non-zero chance that he's the guy that ends up as the 13th forward and then when LOC gets back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yoel Kiviranta coming for that job.
No, and that's he earned it, right? I mean, last season he showed exactly what he can do as a elite bottom 6 forward. So I think if anybody's gunning for that spot, it's going to be Yoel Kiviranta.
Yeah.
Let's just live in fantasy land where Kivy puts up 16 again and Olofsson puts up 20.
How about he just puts up 10, but he also adds 10 assists?
That's like 3 more assists than
A
last year.
little less Cy Youngy.
Sure.
You're telling me he's not going to go hat trick after hat trick again this year?
Those empty net goals sure were fun. It me, the hater.
We do need to take our second break of the show here, so let's get on it and make sure we do that before we dive into the title topic, as we are brought to you by the official craft beer of DNVR. You can see it right there with Breckenridge Brewery. Make sure you're getting it here at the DNVR bar if you're coming down to say hi, or pretty much anywhere. They're available in all 50 states right now. You can use the Breck Beer Locator online to find Breck Brew near you. You can get dozens of different flavors. They have rotating ones for every season. They have the classic Avalanche, of course, but they also have IPAs like the Ridge Runner. They've got beers for everybody. Mile High City, go Nuggets. Broncos Country Pale Ale, go Broncos. They've also got the Fun Slinger. They even have Good Company Hard Seltzer, if that's your thing. So get with Breck Brew today. Again, check them out, breckbrew.com. You can find them near you with the Breck Beer Locator online. You can also check out their merch. Everyone loves their hats. We got tons of compliments on their hats at Breck Brew. So
Nice.
go get one of those. And then this isn't even really an advertisement. This is Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. Huge partnership for us, for a good cause. Make sure you're taking care of the community, the kids in the community. You can donate right now. There's a sidebar next to the video. I think it's on that side, actually, that you can see all the donations. Or there's a link down in the description where you can go donate on the website. Do those, or if you really want to help out, you can become a big. You can help the kids directly. It's an awesome organization. It does so much good for everybody. So highly recommend that you get in with them. They're just it's awesome to do a good cause. I'll put it to you that way. So make sure you're getting with them. Again, you can head to bbbs.org/ALLCITY today to donate or sign up to help the organization. All right, third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I think obviously the new guys matter, but especially when you're talking about Olofsson, part of the conversation here comes with the conversation of the Avs' depth at center this year. Mm-hmm. That being Brock Nelson locked in as your 2C, and for at least to start the season, Jack Drury looks to be their 3C. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, let's ask it directly. Can Jack Drury be a 3C?
Yes.
Okay.
I think the simple answer is yes. Becomes more complex when you start talking about how elite of a 4C he was. When in Carolina, it was not uncommon to find him moving up and down the lineup. That's just how Rod deploys his lines. Here, he's finding a little bit of stability. or at least he's looking for that, right?
Yep.
And you see what he's able to do on that 4C spot. He's providing a lot of much needed defense in that area. Face-off numbers are through the roof with the bottom six, which I think is nothing to shirk away from. It comes down to can he gel with a Ross Colton? Can he gel with a Thr Olofsson? Who he needs to be able to find those outlets for shooting. I think his shooting could even take a step forward as well. But that's I think the big question is he able to find that chemistry with Colton and Olofsson and being able to deploy that in a way that is just as elite as he was deploying that on the fourth center spot.
It's my worry for Jack Drury in the role isn't necessarily that he isn't capable of putting up the offensive numbers required of someone at a 3C level. He did have a 28-point season in Carolina a couple years ago. But I do wonder, especially when you are putting yourself in a situation where Olofsson, realistically, probably not that great defensively. Colton actually did have better numbers defensively than a lot of people give him credit for, but stylistically, you're asking him to be an attacking style player moving forward on the ice.
He's your play driver.
Right. So can Jack Drury be offensively impactful while very clearly being asked to be the defensively responsible player on that line at center?
That's the rub, man.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. But you know what's funny is that as their 4C in their postseason series, he had more points than Charlie Coyle did.
It's true.
As the 3C.
It's true.
There's also, I think, something to be asked as well. We talked about Olofsson being a guy who does not move around very, very well. He can find different parts of the ice to shoot, but you're asking somebody to forecheck, and then also asking Jack Drury to take that step, and you have to find some sort of rhythm here. I think if you're asking Jack Drury to be that center, play a bit of a defensive role, be good in the face-off dot, you almost need to ask more of Olofsson in that sense as well. Give Drury the jobs that you know he can do well, and you know what he's good at. You know where Olofsson ideally should be as a player, and you want to be able to kind of ask him to take that next step as well if Drury's willing to do that.
Well, and you
at the
have
same time.
archetype-wise, it makes sense on paper because you have Drury, who's a good puck distributor, but not a very good shooter. With Colton and Olofsson, who are much better shooters, but aren't very good puck distributors. So the guy in the middle of the ice needs to be the connective tissue there.
Yep.
And on paper,
It makes sense. Yeah.
it's not hard to see where that would be the case. It's just, can he actually do it?
Yeah.
In practice.
Yeah, because if he puts up 28 points again, that's low 3C stuff.
You need to be targeting 35 points.
Yeah, I think 35, the 35 range, give or take a few either direction.
Sure.
You know,
We're not going to down to the point or anything.
yeah. I mean, if it's at 32, I'm like, cool.
Which again is something to be said coming into a new system, finally having the ability to start and get through a year of playing in this system and being able to, he even said it leading into training camp, is he's here now. He knows the system well enough now that ideally, again, we keep saying on paper, he should be able to hit 30, 35 points, no problem, next to a guy like Ross Colton, next to a finisher like Olofsson.
Yes.
But again,
And especially true if they decide to baby Olofsson a little bit and they give him an Arturi Lehkonen or a Val Nichushkin to try and
Then you have a true high-end
goose
skill
that
player.
line a little bit. You're like, okay, well, this is a guy that's got some real numbers here that should be helping to boost that line.
Production becomes necessary at that
Yes,
point.
and if you do have a Lehkonen, then some of the defensive heavy lifting is taken off of Drury's shoulders and it's put onto.
That's true.
I'm using Lehkonen as like the stand-in. Like pick a guy from the
adult.
top six.
Pick an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the easy go-to answer though for that top six.
Won't be Marty Necas.
No.
He's
So-
not an adult. Yeah.
But again, then comes the question too. We talk about putting Olofsson on a stage and shielding some of those maybe not so good aspects of his game as well.
Yeah.
And there comes a point where you have to hold a player accountable for what he's not willing to do and not willing to learn.
It's fair.
It is.
Hello, Colfax. Yeah.
He liked your point.
I think it'll be interesting with Drury in the sense of, could there be other, I don't want to, like, micro opportunities is what I would call them, because he's going to be the de facto face-off guy for the Avs this year. And I know a lot of that's going to come in the defensive zone, as we need you to win important face-offs to protect us. But maybe we see them throw him out there for offensive zone face-offs at times with a Marty or a even next to a Nelson or a McKinnon, just to win that face-off and get the Avs set up.
Yeah, I mean, you should be opening 3v3 with Jack Drury, Nathan McKinnon, and Cale
Drury
McCarr.
in the classic, if I win it, I jump off the ice position. Yeah,
He wins it back. McCarr gets it, and he circles around. Drury gets off the ice, and Valenchushkin comes on. And you go, great, that's the whole thing.
With as much as he's worked on it over the last few years, too, I don't see that why that's not how you deploy him, in a sense, too, in a must-win kind of situation.
Yep. So
He should be getting a lot of
cap,
empty empty net ice time this year.
for sure.
Yes.
He's gonna get all of Mikko's old empty empty net ice time.
Nah, he'll pass it too much. He won't be the guy that puts it into the empty.
Oh,
net.
absolutely not. But he should get that ice time so he can win the
Ice time's
face-off.
fair. Ice time's fair.
Give it to somebody else, and then they could go do all the cool stuff and then end up in the back of the net, and he gets the +1 that we could pretend matters.
So we move up that center depth chart to Brock Nelson next, then, and it's important.
Fun.
Well,
the 2C.
It's important that everyone in the Avalanche organization plays well, right? But
Yeah.
You hope?
But there are a little bit of differences, right? Obviously, McKinnon and McCarr have sky high expectations that they've earned, and they're realistic. But when you're talking about Brock Nelson at 2C, there's a little extra weight there because of the Avs struggles at 2C over the last 3 years. Am I being overly optimistic to think that the Avs can get the absolute best out of Brock Nelson at this point in his career?
When you have him next to a guy like Gabriel Landeskog, I can't imagine why not.
I'm down. I'm down for the hype.
When you've got two veteran players like that, you're coming into a situation where Brock Nelson did not get a full year in an Avalanche uniform. Now he's come in a couple games later, starting the season with the Avalanche. He's got the system down, playing next to a guy like Gabe Landeskog, who, both guys have somewhat of a reputation from being able to score in front of the net, right, too? So then also comes a conversation of roles. And, what Brock Nelson can do to puck distribute, to put pucks on net from different areas of the ice as well. So I think there's a lot of experimenting with what Nelson is capable of. But again, you've got a guy, there's that trust there from both of them being veterans, having been in this league for a long time, and having that kind of connection to go off of, being able to start the year together, both of them for the first time, either in a new uniform or in a while. So there's, I think, something to be said about that.
I always say never take too much out of preseason, but you even go back to last playoffs, Landy and Brock looked really good together.
Yeah.
Throughout training camp, preseason, the preseason games so far, Landy and Brock have looked really, really good together.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's a reliable line, I will say. And I think that's exactly what the Avalanche kind of need to almost kind of separate the different roles of each line, too. Because you've got a McKinnon Necas who you're expecting that to be your dynamic piece, go and score and do all the things in the offensive zone that you need to do. And then you've got reliability in front of the net, in the neutral zone, just kind of trickling down that lineup, starting with, I think, Nelson and Landeskog.
Let me ask y'all a question. If you had a combination that produced roughly 50% of the expected goal share, you're okay with that, right? But if you also had a combination on your team that produced a roughly 60% goal share,
Very good.
you like that more, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's the combination you'd want to run?
Let me see. 60's more than 50? Yeah, okay. Math adds
Yeah.
up.
Great. Now that we have successfully done math live on air, I would say this is my argument for why you're keeping Necas and McKinnon together, because their numbers are just too good. They just click too well. The one thing that they need to score at even strength more than they did.
True.
Necas' even strength scoring was not good in Colorado. That has to greatly improve. But I think that trickle-down effect means that you do use Landeskog and Nelson together. And when you throw Nichushkin there, I keep joking that that's the Tower of Power. It's just all the big fellas that go and just get after him. And Arturi Lehkonen kind of ruins that joke because he's...
Plays big, isn't big.
Yeah, plays big, isn't big. He's a little fella comparatively. I think that you just love what they do together and you love that chemistry. I've tried to keep my hype about Brock Nelson in reserve because my love feels like a curse.
Worked out with Taves.
Each of the... And I think I'm paying the price for it.
Can we spread that other places?
Yeah. It just... Because, like, I was willing to see Ryan Johansson succeed. I was willing... to have Casey Middlestat be the answer, and now I'm on guard about Brock Nelson, where I'm like, I don't know, maybe he's too old now, maybe he's bad. I don't want to really buy the hype that I feel about Brock Nelson as an Av, because I just feel personally cursed. It's really about me. Most things are. So,
Get hurt if you don't open up your heart.
thank you. That's existential.
So insightful.
That's kind of the point. I'm trying not to get hurt. So yeah, I'm worried that there were some aging effects with Nelson's game last year, but it was also a strange year on the island where they kind of collapsed in a lot of ways. And the guy that we saw here was pretty effective.
And especially when you consider he's got a couple years to kind of prove his worth at 2C and create less of a question mark that the Avs have to deal with in that position for a couple more years and earn it.
The downside is he's 33, so he's really got to do it right now. This has to work this year, because if it doesn't, what do you do? You can't just then turn around and be like, well, Brock Nelson is such a valuable trade piece. He didn't work for us, but he will for you. Like, it's like the Craigslist version of NHL GMing at that point.
I was going to say, cap's going up at that point. It looks cheap.
I just...
Lightly use one Sidney Crosby. I know what I have.
Yeah, I'm so tired of talking about the second line center that I need this to work. In my soul, I need this to work. So I don't know if the wish is the father of the thought that this is actually why I believe that Nelson is going to work. But also... yes, he didn't score in the postseason. That's bad. But we saw so much good process out of him with Landeskog in particular that I'm willing to believe that, man, you give these guys 60 games of runway, they're going to figure it out.
There is also something to be said, too, about how much the game differs from regular season to preseason as well. And how much...
And then to postseason.
Yeah. And how that differs. So, you're getting a Gabe Landeskog and a Brock Nelson in a playoff type setting. You have a little bit of time to kind of work through that. And, if they look that good during the playoffs without scoring, imagine what that looks like heading into the regular season and what they could be capable of in the first 10, 15 games.
I will say I'll defend Brock's playoffs a little bit, in the sense that he had multiple posts hit in that series. Like, we're talking about a couple inches from him having multiple goals in that series.
The Avs are like a combined 9 inches from winning that series comfortably.
It's not like Nelson could have easily had goals, unlike a Tyler Arneson who shot the puck into a goalie's chest 45 times in a row.
Why Tyler Arneson? What a sideswipe. That guy's just out living his life, probably still playing hockey in some German second or third league. Just doing his thing, and then you
got beer league on Sundays. Give him a break.
Do it dirty like this. What you're saying is true. He was the logo king. He was like Steph Curry before Steph Curry. Look, but Jesus, dude, that was a sideswipe.
You gotta switch it up every once in a while. My usual go-to there is Ryan Smith. So.
They could really use it, Ryan Smith, right now.
Gosh. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make is, like, you see what he's capable of in the postseason and how that can translate. And I think that in and of itself makes hope, attainable and a realistic outlook to have. So to not break your heart or to protect your heart. I feel like it's safe to, sit there and look at what he did and expect, when you're that close for him to finally get there in the first 10, 15 games of the season.
Also, he had 13 points in 19 games, which is a 60-point pace.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is fine.
That's our 2C.
You would like a little bit more?
Yeah.
Give me 65.
Sure.
Great. Put him out there for empty nets.
Again, he's starting the season with the team, though, too. So he's got
and
that.
He talked about it. We've talked about it a lot, that the lifestyle.
Yeah.
His family's here.
Yep.
He's settled. They have a place. They've got schools sorted. He's not flying by the seat of his pants, and he didn't just get traded from the only place that he's ever known in his career.
Right.
He's here now. Made a conscious decision. He sat down, talked about it. All right,
Wrote
let's
a bunch
do
of
this.
letters to Madeline. It's fine.
So many.
The only other thing I'll say about Nelson, you mentioned it a little bit. He's coming to a system and a team that is really good at getting pucks going north.
Yeah,
And
something that he's real
pretty
good at.
good at going north.
Yeah, he's really good at that. Something that got buried a little bit in the island because of the various more defensively oriented systems that those teams wanted to play. And then whatever you want to call Patrick Waugh's system, which is, I call it bad, but other people have other names for it.
Counterattacking is the most generous term I think I've seen.
That's fun. Sure, counterattacking. That was a counterattack to me calling it bad. So
I mean, it is bad. But
very apropos. I want to see a full season of him. I mean, he's big. He skates really well. He plays with power.
Yep.
Great. All of those things check boxes for the Avalanche. Go do that and score 30 goals.
And then
He can have a 60-point season if 40 of them are goals. Acceptable.
great. Yeah, fine. 40-20 is fine. The other thing I've seen a couple people talking about is their concerns about age on that line with Landeskog and Nelson. But I would say this. I don't think Nelson's that old, first of all. And when you're talking about Landeskog, assuming the knee is okay, which is a big assumption, he has to get through the season and the knee not fail him.
Yeah.
But other than that, this is a body who actually has 3 years less of wear and tear than his age actually shows.
He has natural aging, not NHL aging.
Right.
Right.
So fair enough.
I don't see how that's a concern for me personally.
In a one-year setting, I agree.
No, you're talking age, but you're also talking veteran presence and guys who know their way around the puck at this point in their career. When you're talking about a guy maybe at 38, 39, 40, you're getting into Bret Burns realm, okay. Maybe I can justify that there.
Totally.
But looking at a Gabe Landeskog, who's still, I'd consider maybe the late prime of his career, given that he's coming off of a life-changing knee injury. But this is a guy who can still, do things on the ice. He's still got a lot of skill left in the tank. I don't think age is the biggest concern for me. The biggest concern is him getting to 75-plus games.
Yeah. Yeah, without any kind of load management, right?
Right.
Just
so you can play a full season.
how does it feel?
I would
as
say
the year
load
goes
management
on?
is fine as long as it's precautionary and not necessary.
Yeah, but he's also not going to get. He's not going to get the February break because he's going to go play for Sweden. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty important. If there's one guy that I'm hoping doesn't make an Olympic roster, it's Brock Nelson.
Someone can have 2 weeks off in the top six.
Look, big fella, just stay at home.
I mean, you and I talked about this. The worst best forward for the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Let's give him a break.
Exactly.
Not everyone has to be playing for their country, although I'm sure they want to. But.
Just relax, fellas.
Right.
You got a Stanley Cup to go win, all right? The gold medal, Brock, the gold medal passed you by. It's fine.
Look,
go get a cup.
I'm not a professional athlete, but if my job said, "Hey, you're taking 2 weeks off," I'd be like, "Sick."
Cool.
I mean,
what beach am I going to at this point?
I am appreciative of them taking 3 weeks off so that we don't get those weeks off.
I'm going to be doing watch-alongs for half of the Olympic games.
Yeah, but watch-alongs for the Olympics is that's chilling. You don't have to do post-game pods. You can just hang out.
True.
It's going to be a good time.
I mean, we'll be doing pods about the Olympics anyway, but
also,
You might end up doing it.
Well, also, like we're talking about Landy can still play. Look at the pass that he made to Tristan Nielsen in the preseason game.
Yeah.
He brings it in the just little, draws the puck out, little backhand chip right through a guy's legs, lands right on the stick, and he's able to just easy.
He stepped right back into the role that he left off on when the Avs won the Cup in 22. I don't think, and again, obviously, preseason is different from regular season, is different from postseason, but you can't sit there and see what he did during that split squad session at Magnus Arena and say, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I definitely do want that.
Yeah. Everything that he did. He looked really good. He was effective. He made plays with the puck, and then he beat up a child.
I don't even know how old Sam Lipkin is. So
He's young.
okay.
He's not like 18, but
Sure.
he's a recent draft pick.
Yeah, fair enough.
22 years old?
He beat up a frat bro. He didn't bring up beat up a child.
Legally an adult. I guess he can't have his own. He can't rent a car. But other than that,
That should be the line of demarcation. Yeah.
Oh, God.
last thing I wanted to touch on, and you guys kind of already talked about this, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it specifically, Bailey. Having seen Necas play up and down the lineup in Carolina, how attached at the hip should he be to McKinnon? Is there a world where he can be the play driver on a separate line?
I think there is a world where that can exist. I don't think it should.
Okay.
I am of the firm belief when that trade happened, I'm sitting there looking through Necas' eyes, and I'm like, this is the best thing that could have happened for him, just given stylistically how he plays and how well that fits into the Avalanche system. And playing next to a guy like Nathan McKinnon, sure, they think very, very similarly about their paths on the ice. And sometimes if you don't know a player well enough, that can cause a bit of confusion. I actually think that makes their lives infinitely easier because they've already got that chemistry and know how they move.
Yeah.
Looking at the power play, kind of talking away from a 5-on-5 situation, you've got a dynamic situation that's already confusing the heck out of other teams' PKs and infinitely makes your power play that much more dangerous. But I think with the way they move dynamically, you've got ideally on paper the perfect scoring line. Why would you break that up? And it comes down to a conversation of not nearly the same type of players when it comes to caliber, but you look at a McDavid-Draisaitl situation. How much more dangerous are they together than broken up?
Yep.
Statistically, it's a lot.
So
It's a lot.
that's the question you start asking with McKinnon and Necas is how much more dangerous are they together than they are moving Necas down in the lineup too. And then, you come down to all the contract talks and how much more difficult that potentially makes it for that versatility and, creating a contract and negotiating.
Play him on the second line to keep the numbers lower, to keep the price lower. Everything's smart. And then as soon as he signs the deal, put him on the first line.
There you go.
There.
But
You're welcome. I've conspiracy theoried it.
there comes down to that this is a player who's reportedly known to have a high self-belief. He knows what he's able to provide. It's can he provide that? And I personally think he can do that better with a guy like Nathan McKinnon.
I think at 5v5 breaking them up is dumb. I think on the power play there's a good conversation to be had.
Okay.
Where you can at least entertain it a little bit.
Yeah.
Once again, assuming they actually use a second unit.
Right. Well, and if you do that, you would do it under the understanding
Totally.
of we would like to
Have some talent here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with his zone entry ability to get them set up, it just makes a lot of sense. And then you could put Olofsson in the old Rantanen shooter spot.
Yep.
And it's like this is a conversation I'm here for. At 5v5, I don't think it is.
No. Not at
So
all.
much of they're too redundant. Every time you see a team with really high-end players at the top of their roster, people want to break them up and be like, oh, spread it throughout their lines. And you're like, you just made all of them worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to stick to what's good.
Right. Like is it better to have two 52% lines or one 60% line and one 50%
I think that's why
line?
you have lines 1 through 4. Like
Yeah.
your top line is meant to be your best line. And is that
Such
your
a good point.
absolute best line if it doesn't right now looking at statistics and how good these players are together. Is that your best line if it's not McKinnon and Necas?
Yeah.
Occupying that
And
top.
you look at what Necas and Nelson were doing together last year. It wasn't great. And then you look at what Landeskog and Nelson did in the
was really
postseason,
good.
and it was pretty great. And you're like, why exactly are we tinkering with this?
Right.
It just feels like overthinking to me, where you're just getting too
Shuffling for
cute.
the sake of shuffling.
Yeah, where you're like, oh, in theory, I could see, and you could like understand the argument, right? Of oh, you want that kind of game-breaking ability on two lines, but why not have that game-breaking ability on one line and then this absolute hammer with power and speed on the other line?
As we are headed into overtime here, the conversation continues online at thdnvr.com. Look, there's a reason Jared Bednar would always go back to the three-headed monster, right?
Yeah.
You put your three best players together because it works.
Yeah, you want to be able to be multiple like that. You want them to not have a strong game plan. If whatever game plan they have to stop Nathan McKinnon, like good luck, they can apply to Marty Necas on a different line.
Yeah.
But if you have them on one line, good luck. Just straight up, that's mostly survival. And then you throw out a second line that plays a completely different style, plays so much heavier. It's so much harder to work around.
That's two different game plans.
Right,
You have
like,
to.
why are you making yourself easier to game plan for when you put them away
just-
from each other?
When you have another quality talent like a Val Nichushkin on that line too,
Yeah.
he gets to play third banana. There's only two defensemen on the other team. So someone's getting covered by a forward.
Yeah.
It's not going to be McKinnon for sure.
And we're talking the other guys out here are Brock Nelson, Gabe Landeskog, Arturi Lehkonen, and Val Nichushkin.
Yep.
These aren't bums.
No.
All of them at times in their careers have driven a line. So you don't need Marty Necas to go down. At times, Carolina needed Necas to be like, hey, this is our game breaker. We need to move him away. We need to move him around a little bit so that we can add that extra element, that extra dynamic element to the lineup. Colorado didn't have that problem.
And you see Carolina fall apart in certain areas like that when Necas gets traded too. So you see what he's able to bring to a lineup in that dynamic speed, his ability to move the puck, those breakouts, and not just that, his zone entries too. I think are when you've got two guys who can make zone entries as well as Nathan McKinnon and Martin Necas.
Yeah.
It almost makes them unstoppable.
Just
in a way.
don't overthink it. You're going
Right.
to play in the offensive zone so much. That's the point.
Yep.
Last one, we'll play over under. Marty
Fun.
Necas had 83 points last year.
Over.
Over.
The easy overs. Heard it here
That was
first.
an easy over.
All right. Didn't
You've
even
got
have
a
to
guy
think
who's
about it.
ideally going to play top line minutes the entire season. Give
Yeah.
me the over on that every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
If you ask me 93, now I start to sweat. But
Yes.
83?
Is 93
Over.
the push?
I think
Maybe.
90 is the target for him this
Yeah.
season, especially if he's asking 10 million on a contract. 90 has to be the target.
Yeah.
All right. Score 90 and I'll give you 10.5, Marty. Good? Good.
Cool.
This feels fair.
We are going to wrap up for today. Bailey, if you want to tell people where they can find you and all your stuff, go ahead.
Yeah, find me over on Twitter at Bailey Curtis, Bailey with 2 Y's. Find my work over with the Hockey News at thehockeynews.com. Check out the Colorado Avalanche page. You can find all my articles there.
Thank you for joining us today. It was a good one today. We got another show coming tomorrow, which I need to figure out what we're doing for, and then it's another post game on Saturday. So should be fun. We're less than 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season, by the way. It's coming quick.
We've gotten over the dog days of summer.
Yeah, it's glad we're not there anymore. I'll put it to you that way. That's going to do it. This has been the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.